Hi people, welcome to Bouquet Jazz Dance. You're in my dance lab, and one of the key things I want to share with people, these are my notes for a lecture and for writing I'm doing at the moment. And what it is, basically create a project called Rock. Yeah, and it's called Rebirth for the Cool. It's about me sharing my acts of achievement as a dance leader. I'm a self-trained dance leader mainly, and then I went to be trained, and then I went back to self-training myself because I wanted to nurture what is called UK Jazz Dance. UK Jazz Dance is an umbrella term, a commercial umbrella term for a number of UK underground dance lifestyles, cultures and movements, and I've been part of that in the UK and abroad. Have you got that? One of the key things I wanted to share with the individual, there was an underground development of the lifestyle culture movement. In '86 it changed when 3 dance groups were in a film. They went to commercialize it. From the commercialization took place, what happened was it came a thing of technical ability. What happened, the dancers were originally seeking, when they first had a benchmark, when they started to do this dance, creativity was at the forefront, not technicality of a dancer. Being original was at the forefront, being fit. Basically, dancers were into smoking, drinking. There was a lot of benchmarking around what we considered UK jazz dance to be. Female dancers and male dancers, black females, dancers were involved in UK jazz dance. My work for the Rebirth for the Cool project is sharing black females and males involved in the evolution of this dance. It never happened in isolation. What's happened has been Western writers historically have always demeaned black dance. Any black dance has come, and that's what's happened. So what they did, they socially stereotyped it. Females and males and groups socially stereotyped UK jazz dance, stereotyped the dance, the culture, everything, okay? Demonized it as something that was macho. Women were involved in it and all that. As I said, African diaspora women and males were involved in it because we learned the dancing from our parents. It's steps on steps. So what happened, first of all, Rebirth for the Cool, the project has something underlying it, a number of things. One is about me sharing my acts of achievement, my legacy of leadership, and that legacy of leadership from the birth in Manchester to now 2020, I'm still dancing, pushing the boundaries. I've been through the merging stage to established stage to advanced stage, and always at the forefront I was an activist. That is what people need to know from the beginning. I was always a person who believed in black and beautiful, because my parents taught me dancing is sharing with the world your black beauty, and it was important as a dark-skinned child from born in 1964 and 1970 because of the big issues of the black and white minstrel show, nigger songs, Meeny, Meeny, Miny, Mo, Catch a Nigger, Boys Told, If You Squeal. Britain had spread through the colonies that black people, especially dark people, are inferior. Do you understand? And so I grew up in a society, that's how people viewed me. When I went into education, unfortunately, I had special education needs, so it made it worse that I was dark skinned, wouldn't it? Right, okay. But what happened, the people unaware, in my family dancing is huge. As a user activity to focus the child. You can see I'm focused as a man there. There's a picture of me, and you can see that she's focused. Dance was used in activity not only to focus us, to give us self-confidence, to give us self-assurance, give us self-belief in our culture, give us a positive self-identity and image in a society that didn't have a positive image for us, be it West Indian, be it African or African American. If you look at videos, films by Hollywood, Pinewood and other parts of the world, they disrespected us. If you go into Europe, that's how they viewed us. We were seen as gollywogs. We were seen as niggers, coons, wogs. I mean, I could go on. In my time, black bastard was a huge thing, and the Catholic school I was called a black bastard. But I mean, the real world definition of the word bastard is important for people to understand. That means born out of wedlock. I was born out of wedlock in a Catholic school. You need to understand, in the past, in the 60s, children born out of wedlock were taken into care. You have to understand the significance of some of the challenges I face as an individual. So Rebirth for the Cool is telling people the hurdles I jumped, and one of the hurdles was dark skin, to have a positive self-image, and jazz gave me a positive self-image, because you see a lot of dark-skinned people involved in jazz, right? Louis Armstrong, Coltrane, Alice Coltrane, do you understand? Miles Davis, do you understand? They were positive images for me as an individual growing up. Ella Fitzgerald, do you understand? These are positive images of black is beautiful, black is graceful, black is fantastic, black people can achieve despite disadvantages. So one of the key things Rebirth for the Cool talks about, my parents taught me Don't let disadvantages be a barrier to success. And I did not let it be a barrier to success. And I've been through a horrible life, I have to say. 41 years, undiagnosed dyslexia. I was written off with special education needs. I was educated in my primary school. In the first 2 years after they tested me, they wrote me off in the school. So that was horrible at an impressionable age for teachers. And the teachers were nuns and priests, some of them. So you have to understand the significance of my confusion with religion. Are we not in the eyes of God and all that? It was confusing. We had A-level guilt. But I got through it. After they being killed, my parents had to send me to the Caribbean, my brother and sister, after and they got killed in my primary schools, one of the few blacks. The children treated me like a gollywog. They were taught you can take gollywogs and throw them up and down. People took it too far, put my head in the toilet all the time, break time in feces, weed on my head, did feces on my head, flushed the toilet on my head and choked me and left me to die upon the toilet seat in their panic. But what happened, a priest or nun must have saw me as an individual, got me up and took me to the office. They never phoned my parents, live round the corner. Never phoned my mother to let her know, do you know this is what happened to your son? What happened was it was the early morning. I was there till break. I was there till last bell. And then the teacher cleaned me up and said, don't go home, don't tell your parents. But what happened, my parents knew something was wrong. They knew something was wrong. I wasn't the same child. My mother went into the school as my mother and father spoke. My dad could not stay off. Went into the school, said, something's wrong with my child. What's happened? The teachers told him I'd been being bullied for 2 years. My mother's face, I can't express to her. I can't tell you. I knew that she loved me by her expression and what she kept saying. She's saying, did you tell me that my son had been bullied for 2 years and you've not contacted me? We live round the corner. We've got a phone number. This was all happening. You know, outside she said sorry. And then what she did, my father and mother made a decision. We're sending our kids to the Caribbean to toughen up. They need to see black people in position. They need to know the hardships we've come from. And knowing that we still we still show resilience. We show tenacity. We know there's hurdles, but you can get an education if you learn to jump the hurdles and toughen yourself up. Good preparation. That's what my mother did. They took me to the Caribbean. I went to school. My brother and sister, I went to school there. There's where I saw black people. I lived in a black community. The first time I seen blacks in a school, black school teachers, black mathematics teachers, blacks running business, because I'd grown up in Britain. 64 to 70, 72, I didn't see black people in position. I saw hardships because I was born in the slums, which was derelict. But I saw pride in us as a people. I saw where my mother got the pride from, a value, her self-care in the Caribbean. Because no matter how poor you are, they carry self-care. They do not moan about their circumstances. They get on with it. And it gave me empowerment. It made me feel somebody. It gave me a positive self-image of my darkness. I saw a lot of people dark. I saw different shades. They all walked with pride and they loved each other. They never put each other down. That's why I learned about different shades of brown. Do you understand? But I knew history. I started to learn about the history over years about how the Europeans have brought in this inbreeding and made the light-skinned child the good child and everything, etc., etc., and the darker-skinned child the negative person. I went through all these type of things. But one thing, what happened, my parents taught me, use dance as a vehicle to make you feel good about yourself. Use dance to bond with your friends and build camaraderie with your brother. My parents encouraged, cultivated, nurtured dancing in our home, nurtured visual arts, nurtured performing arts in the home. And we did these things as a part to get as escapism from the hardships that in reality we didn't know about. When you're growing up, we didn't know about the word racism. I didn't know about racism until I went to primary school. And it was a suburban primary school where there was few blacks in there. I was treated horribly. And it had an effect, a lifelong effect on me. But what happened, the same time, my parents got me rehabilitation intervention from a gentleman called Mr. Blackman, and I had him for 23 years, from 19, do you understand, as an individual. He was my rehabilitation counsellor, academic coach, etc. So I got rehabilitation counselling, is one of the things I want to say. I wasn't the only one. It happened to black brothers and sisters who faced negative experiences. And one thing, that commonality that we can have a relationship with those in Africa, those in America, those in Europe, blacks, is our racism that we experience and how we face that racism in education, in the workplace. Black door policy from venues, so you want to go out and dance and release your stress, you can't because of black door policy. The educational system stereotypes you in every way, socially, physically, intellectually, culturally, emotionally, spiritually, politically, economic and technological environment, and legally as inferior. Do you understand? So what you do, you create subcultures. What you create your own self-help groups. And that's what I did. I created my own self-help groups to support me and sisters. I went to black summer schools. I came back from the Caribbean from 1973. I went to black summer schools. And I saw black people of all shades and background, from different backgrounds, religion, for 1972 to 86, we're going to black summer schools. And that gave me pride and acceptance. That was different shades of us, different people, like different things. We learned to live in harmony together, to be cooperative, collaborative, learn to love each other, learn